Rurikhan, why haven't you been streaming World of Warcraft Dragonflight? Well, I've been sick. As a matter of fact, I'm currently, I have like a cough drop, which is why you might hear my voice a little bit different, but I was already sick on the launch day of Dragonflight, which in a way, I'm almost considering that to be a good omen because right before the launch of Endwalker, I made the questionable decision that basically burned my throat, which also prevented me from properly covering the launch of Endwalker, which I ended up playing offline throughout most of the experience. And that's what I've been doing in World of Warcraft Dragonflight. And some of you might be wondering, well, Rurikhan, have you been enjoying it? Like, what's the deal with it? Is it time to come back to World of Warcraft? And like I said, I'm not going to advise people to come back to World of Warcraft this early because Shadowlands also seemed pretty good at the start, even though there were problems in the beta and all of that. But at the very start, Shadowlands actually seemed like it was going to be a decent proposition. And then a couple of weeks in / months in, it became very obvious that what Blizzard wanted had nothing to do with what we wanted. Am I right? So let me go ahead and grab my notes here. I printed out a couple of notes for stuff that I want to talk about. I'll probably be editing in some gameplay and stuff. I just wanted to do a little bit of a different video today. But, so on my notes it says here that I'm sick. So I'm supposed to let you guys know that I'm sick. I've been sick since Monday. Hasn't gotten much better. As a matter of fact, I already put down another ibuprofen. So these are going to be my last couple of minutes of sanity. Because after that, I'm going to be like, ooh. Wait, I can't laugh. Can't laugh. That's going to trigger a terrible cough. Now, one of the first things that I would like to point out is the servers exploded. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no excuse whatsoever. I've always said I will call out Blizzard every single time servers explode after Diablo Immortal because the Diablo Immortal servers did not, in fact, explode. Now you can tell me about, oh, but World of Warcraft servers are different, but this, but that, and the other. And it's like, look, you can argue whatever you want. At the end of the day, Diablo Immortal was a mobile game, which I would assume had a lot more potential players than the current iteration of World of Warcraft, especially after all the problems that we've been having with World of Warcraft. So, you know, if they were able to do it, fine. And by the way, when I'm talking about the Diablo Immortal servers were fine, I'm talking like flawless. As in, I went to the PC on the day of launch, logged in, made my character, didn't even rush through anything, just like, you know, made my character, started playing the game, and there were no issues. There wasn't even almost any lag, okay? That was the Diablo Immortal launch experience. Now, the launch experience for World of Warcraft Dragonflight was quite different. For starters, the boat that was supposed to come to take the players onto the Dragon Isles did not show up on a lot of servers. It did show up on Asmongold's server, but trust me, it did not show up on a lot of European servers. On the other hand, though, I was told that the Horde Zeppelin was working just fine. It's almost as if what I've said a million times, that Blizzard has a heavy bias towards the Horde, is actually true. They're heavily biased towards Horde, and that would explain why the Zeppelin was working and the boat wasn't working. Let me grab some here. But, you know, that was the launch experience. After you would actually get into the servers, there was another problem, which is, as per usual, the item server was going to be what it always is, and that is a complete shit show. For those of you that are aware of any, let me just place this down. For those of you that are aware of pretty much whenever there is lag in World of Warcraft, one of the first things to go is the item server. And that means that whenever you are trying to loot mobs, it's going to lag the crap out. It's going to lag whenever you are trying to attack mobs because the item server just lags everything. And on the launch day, it was a pretty miserable experience. But on the second day, everything was working fine, and it's been working fine since. Yesterday, I still played a significant amount, and I didn't really have any problems with servers. You guys let me know your experience. I also had friends that were not able to play the game at all because they basically got disconnected and they just kept getting world server down. They weren't able to log back into the game at all past that point. So that was the experience of a lot of my friends, but on the next day, they were just fine. Now, Very quick things about the story. Not really going to talk too much about it because I'm still only in the second area currently. I'm level 68. That's because I've been doing a lot of gathering, and I've also been doing a lot of side quests, and I haven't really been just focusing on the main story. But what I can tell is that this time around, the story appears to be a lot simpler. Hey, there are these primalist proto-dragons that are coming back. They're pretty mad because they were imprisoned, and now they want to just like destroy all the other dragons because they were touched by Titan magic and they don't like them. And so there's this conflict basically between the magic of order, which is the Titan's magic or whatever, the creatures who like the magic of order, and these primalist proto-drakes that just want to do whatever the hell they want. So it's a pretty simple narrative, and it's, you know, in my opinion, that's what World of Warcraft should do, because they've never been particularly good at like telling a super immersive story like something like Final Fantasy XIV. I don't think that World of Warcraft should copy Final Fantasy XIV. But one of the things that I've learned throughout this expansion is that I never really thought that the story element in an MMORPG was going to be that important to me. But after playing through Final Fantasy XIV and Heaven's Ward, Shadowbringers, Endwalker, these things have actually become a lot more important to me than I realized, because as I was playing through the campaign of World of Warcraft and I got my 5th or 2nd quest of go over there and kill 10 things, I was like, yeah, you know, this is just one of those things where you can kind of just like turn your brain off and go off and kill a bunch of stuff. And I realized that that is always going to be the case for World of Warcraft. There's never really going to be a deeper narrative as you are experiencing the leveling in the game. At least that's my opinion. I know that some people are going to be like, oh, I can read into this and read into that, and there's cutscenes and all that. And I think that the cutscenes are actually pretty decent. I think that they do a good job of illustrating what is happening in the world, but fundamentally is just something that doesn't really appeal to me that much. But it doesn't detract too much from the gameplay either, because, you, like I said, you just kind of switch your brain off, you go into autopilot, you kill a bunch of stuff, which is why I've also been doing the side quests, and also I've been doing a lot of gathering. Now, before we get into the gathering though, I just wanted to say that this expansion of World of Warcraft is potentially the best when it comes to exploration, which is something that I value a great deal. And I kind of expected this to be the case with them fundamentally developing well, I say developing, a lot of people are going to say copying, stealing, etc. A fundamentally different traversal system in the game, which pretty much they pulled out of Guild Wars 2, and that is the dragon riding feature. Now, the dragon riding feature is really, really cool because it means that if you are skilled enough at dragon riding, you can reach every place that you would want to reach in the game. You can find secret locations, you can do a whole lot of different things, and there are rewards for you going off the beaten path and finding secret areas, and you know, you'll find specific quests and stuff like that off the beaten path, which I think is really cool. And I think that it is something very important that traditionally a lot of MMORPGs tend to ignore. Whenever it comes to the traversal aspect of it, it needs to be a fun traversal to inspire players to actually go off and explore. Because if it's not fun, they're just going to beeline the quests and the side quests and all of that stuff, or beeline to the next node, and as the crow flies. And, you know, it becomes a very linear and not that interesting experience. So the exploration aspect of it has been fantastic, and I have been playing the game without any add-ons whatsoever. And I know that a lot of players are going to install, you know, all types of different add-ons, like, oh, I want to find all of the dragon riding glyphs. So you just go ahead and you just have like an add-on pointing arrows. I have friends of mine that are finding the glyphs like that, and I actually think you're doing yourself a disservice, because the dragon riding glyphs, which by the way is how you kind of like upgrade the features of your dragon riding, are actually really well integrated into the world. So there's achievements connected to each of the dragon riding glyphs in the game, and those achievements give you a general idea on which area the the glyph is. And not just that, but if you are flying next to a glyph, your dragon will actually roar and say, oh, I sense a glyph, which you can instantly just like set down and start looking around. Okay, usually they're in high places, so you just start looking up and you'll find it. But so far in the 2 areas that I've been to, I found all of the glyphs pretty much I was going to say organically. It's not organically because I went out of my way to go and find them, but I didn't use any add-ons or anything like that. And finding the glyphs was actually fairly enjoyable because, you know, I had the idea, okay, this glyph's going to be around this area at some point. I'd go there, I'd scout it out. And I'm like, okay, the glyph most likely is going to be on top of those mountains. And then I'd start going up. And it also tests your ability to do proper dragon riding, which is pretty good. So I enjoyed hunting the list. I haven't found all of them yet because, you know, I'm still only in the first 2 zones. But I haven't gone out of my way to find them in zones that I'm not questing in. So basically, I will, whenever I move over to a new zone, that is when I start looking for glyphs in that zone. But before I have to set foot there, I don't really go there to go get glyphs. That's just the way that I've been doing it. I've been trying to clean the map with side quests and all of that stuff. And finally, professions. Now, traditionally, I'm the type of player that does not care about professions at all. I don't like crafting. It's just not my thing. So I decided that for Dragonflight, I was going to go ahead and just get 2 gathering professions. So I have mining and I have herbalism, and that's as basic as it gets. And that has actually been really enjoyable because they changed the way that gathering works a little bit. So there are these elemental nodes that have different elemental effects. There are these specializations that you have within even mining and herbalism, which I didn't expect. Like I expected specializations within blacksmithing, specializations within alchemy, all of that. I didn't expect specializations in gathering professions, which is interesting. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with those specializations, but for instance, there's one that involves Titan touched nodes. And basically what it does is you can trigger whenever you see a Titan touch node, which has like a little special symbol on top of it, you can basically trigger a portal. Then you collect that node, then you go through the portal, and the portal takes you to a nearby node, which is an interesting thing. It's not like anything groundbreaking, but I've been going out of my way to do a lot of gathering because, like I said, the exploration is fun. And one of the more frustrating aspects of when you are playing World of Warcraft and you're doing gathering in previous expansions would be that you can't fly at the start of the expansion. So a lot of times you'd see like a node and it'd be like way above you and you're like, oh, I have no way to actually get there. Whereas now with dragon riding, I'm just like, well, way above me, okay. Get on my mount, press the soar thing like 3 times, boop, 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 and I'm there, which is really cool, in my opinion. Not to mention that there's even secret areas that you gain access through with mining. There are these areas that, you know, there's basically like these rocks covering them up, and you go in there and you just like mine the rocks, and then that lets you go inside the area. And usually inside you'll find like nodes or treasures, depending on whether or not players have been there already, which is, you know, another neat little thing. And then finally, something that I never expected that I would actually end up doing in a World of Warcraft expansion, fishing. I've been doing fishing as well, which is very surprising for me. And this was mostly due to the fact that you can actually track fish schools. And I'm not sure when this feature was implemented into the game. A friend of mine was telling me that they implemented this in Mist of Pandaria. But the way that it worked is you had to do like this convoluted quest line and then eventually it would turn on and then you could track schools of fish. And so I kind of never really got involved in that because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And fishing's boring. I don't want to just like sit there and fish. But if you're fishing just for the schools of fish, which for those who don't know, school of fish is like a little group of fish. I actually think it's a little bit fun. So I've been doing a little bit of that as well, simply because I can track it. And it also is a good way to recharge your dragon riding, because let's say you used up all of your vigor and you have to wait a little bit before it comes back. I'll find like a fishing node and I'll go and I'll start fishing until the thing comes back. And to give you an idea, I've made a significant amount of money with that because I've fished up a couple of recipes that I sold, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, there's also the small factoid that for the very first time in a very long time, my class doesn't completely suck ass at the start of an expansion. Also, the talent trees are pretty cool. When it comes to my overall feelings on the expansion, so far so good, but I still can't wholeheartedly recommend it because, like I said, at the start of Shadowlands, it also seemed like things were going to be okay to an extent. And then later down the line, they basically screwed everybody. So I will not advise anybody to get into it until I'm at least like 1 or 2 months in. But these are like my initial impressions on the expansion. I wasn't even going to do this video. It's just I haven't been able to stream because I can't speak over large periods of time. You can probably hear it in my voice, which is already pretty wasted. And yeah, I'm sick, so I'm sorry guys. I don't know what the content's going to be like for the next couple of days still, but thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, like button, subscribe, bell notification icon, all of that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out. Wow.